couple of years after my experience with Ocarina of Time, I finally managed to get my hands on a new Zelda game, after much hardship. I received my GameCube from my parents for my birthday, albeit a week early. My mother had a trip to go on with my aunt and as a result felt very guilty for missing my birthday that year. I was gifted Super Smash Bros. Melee with the console, which also started my love for that series as well, but that is beside the point. This was a time when physical game rentals were still a thing. My parents used to take me to Hollywood Video twice a month and would let me rent a game while they picked out a couple of movies. One rental trip after I received my GameCube, I noticed a gold box on a shelf. It was a new Zelda game. I rented that sucker in a heartbeat and my next adventure began. To my surprise, the game looked cartoony. I was too young to really be active on the internet, so I had no idea of the brooding hatred that this art style was receiving at the time. Given that I was still watching cartoons, I instantly grew to love the way everything looked. The story started out on an island where Link was just a boy that was living peacefully until the unthinkable happened. His sister was kidnapped. The adventure then took a much more real approach as initially started out with the goal of saving your sister. This scenario managed to perfectly pique my imagination. I am the youngest of 3 siblings, both of whom are significantly older than me. Having an adventure where I could act as the big brother for once was a welcome change. Of course, the adventure became much grander than that. The first time I could decide where to sail was a revelation. The world became so much larger and the adventure seemed to reach a scale that even Ocarina of Time failed to reach. Everything was so different, and yet it was so similar at the same time. I was experiencing a new sensation that I would later come to know as nostalgia. The world was filled with references to the adventure that I had taken in Ocarina of Time. Unlike my experience with Ocarina, I did not encounter any roadblocks with the Wind Waker. I was a Zelda veteran by this point, and it showed. This all culminated when I reached the Master Sword located in a sunken Hyrule. Pulling the sword from the pedestal released the enemies in the area and also prevented your escape until you defeated them all. I had already conquered Ganondorf in a previous game. A few paltry mobs and Darknuts couldn't even dream of defeating me. This led to one of my favorite moments in any video game. I ran throughout the castle, challenging every enemy I could. I was totally in over my head. The enemies were some of the toughest in the game. I persisted until I was left with 1 Darknut and 1 heart container. The stakes were high, but I managed to win after a well-timed attack. From this point, I continued throughout the game. Again, there was a shocking revelation about Princess Zelda that I did not see coming. To my horror, the Master Sword did not work against Ganondorf this time. It was my first memory of seeing a hero fail. In my imagination, the task of restoring the Master Sword was of utmost importance, and I took the task of awakening the sages very seriously. I finally made it to the last section of the game, but then the worst thing that could have happened did in fact happen. My rental period was over, and given the scarcity of the game, I was unable to extend the rental period. This led to a period of 2 months as I pestered my parents to check the rental store at every opportunity. The final battle was literally put on hold and I was in agony. Luckily, the time did come where I was able to get my hands on a copy and finish the game. Again, it culminated in an epic duel with Ganondorf. I was sad to see the land that I explored so thoroughly in Ocarina of Time sink below the ocean. In a great display of affection though, I ended up receiving my own copy of the game from my oldest sister that Christmas. Wind Waker remains one of my favorite games of all time. I was old enough to fully appreciate the experience, and I still own the copy I received from my sister. The sad thing is, my next Zelda experience would not be until I reached junior high, which was about 4 years after I played Wind Waker. But the next Zelda experience was a game changer. Again, thanks for watching this video, and I'll be back soon with the next part where I'm going to look at Twilight Princess.